Okay, Putin moves south here. Still playing, still enjoying. I expect to continue with this, but I'm still going to take a little detour here. A detour, thinking about recently lethality, force attrition, victory points, and winning. It did start with play here of Putin moves south. But my thinking really took off when I happened to I noticed my Advanced Tobruk system, ATS. I noticed my ATS collection, which is all consolidated in one large box. I did notice that earlier today, and that definitely got me thinking. Okay, so again, lethality, force attrition, victory points, and winning. The ATS reference is so even though I'm going to continue playing Putin moves south here, and I don't think I'm going to jump ship anytime soon on this scale and scope, and these kinds of games. What do I mean? What do I mean by these kinds of games? Putin moves south. Oh, now I'm gonna have trouble remembering all the names. Red Dragon Rising, Red Dragon Green Crescent. Yeah, I'm gonna have trouble remembering the names, but these types of games. I'm gonna stick with this subgenre at least for a while longer. There's more for me to explore here. More for me to go over. But when I saw my ATS collection, I was thinking, okay, maybe I will do what I had been thinking about several weeks ago. Several weeks ago, I was remembering back to my play of ATS, which I do like a lot, obviously, as can be seen in the videos I've made. But there's a very clear, inescapable problem with the design. And it's not, I don't believe it's anything that is not recognized. Everything just happens too fast. Ridiculously fast, actually. And part of that is the lethality of unit lethality is way too high. Unit loss is way too high, which creates this ridiculous attrition pattern. And one thing that I was thinking of today, as I was thinking back to that. Okay, so let me get to get around the problem. I've thought about making one change. I don't know if I've mentioned this, but I don't think I have. I have wondered about playing ATS and play the rules, the entire rules, exactly as written, no changes except for one. Basically, every squad has 8 strength increments. Now, of course, I already thought about the problem, or I already thought about the issue of different unit sizes. So during the Second World War, your Soviet rifle squad, and plus at different points in the war, your Soviet squad was of a certain size, your German infantry squad was of a certain size, American squads, and it was obviously not uniform. There were 8-man squads, 9-man squads, 10-man squads, 12-man squads, 13-man squads, 14-man squads, I think. I don't know, maybe even 15-man squads. So that is a huge difference. So there's that problem, and then I thought, well, I have to assume that the designer factored that in when the designer did the strengths and the firepower. Well, no, not the strengths, but the firepower. Probably also range. probably factored in unit size, actual unit size. Okay, so what I would have liked to have done is done real world manning, real world strength, but that would involve too many changes. So if I want to keep the rules exactly as written and just change something to create a more satisfying, again, attrition model, okay, go to every squad has eight increments. So you would lose strength steps basically. So when you lost one, it would be marked. It would be marked, but there would be some modifications, some die roll modifiers. Then you'd mark a second loss, a third loss, and a fourth loss. Yeah, a fourth loss you would flip it over. Then you'd go to the backside, your half strength in ATS. I mean, basically you're quadrupling the staying power of units. Let's see. So I'm going to go on to what I was thinking. This is the same topic, but yeah. Now I have heard, and I will believe it. I've read, and I'll believe it, that designers, like in the case of ATS, they create this hyper lethality to, I don't know, in the belief that creates hyper action, which, based on a belief that creates interest or gameplay, that does not work for me. Not only does it not work for me, that's the opposite. So this is what I mean. If I'm playing an average ATS scenario of 8 turns, and basically the lethality is so high that it's a squad, a unit, when a unit comes in contact and becomes effectively a target of the enemy, it's basically 1, 2, maybe 3 attacks before their losses. And so, game losses. If you're playing quote unquote for real, why would you ever expose yourself, period? Now, of course, designers know this, so then to counteract that, they have to make this, and I've read it, so I'll go with it. Designers make these ridiculously short, time spans in scenarios to force, quote unquote, force players to act. All of that has never sat well with me. I mean, that's got to be clear from things that I've recorded. Okay, it's quite a while ago now, years ago, but that's just, the whole thing is ridiculous. So I've talked about the design that I would go after, and I have, tinkered around. I'd throw all that out. But anyways, I talked about that before. I want players to think they have a chance to actually act without being basically blown away, blown off the battlefield the first time they become significantly exposed. The idea is you're going to get it exposed. Okay, but you don't get, you're not blown to smithereens in the way that these games seem to portray. Alright, let's see. Yeah, and then this, of course, gets to the point, and I can come back here to Putin, move south, all games. And I'm going to say all games. I can't think of a case where this isn't true. Every game has an underlying attrition model. The question is whether that attrition model is well designed or not. That, of course, raises the question of what is good design, what's less than good design. But certainly feeling is not a good enough measure of design quality.